Many say that comparison is the thief of joy. We're not when it comes to marathon though, because you absolutely need to compare the night and day differences of the gameplay experience of marathon playing from the alpha, where I put 40 hours into that playtest session, and just my initial impressions of playing the server slam that just came out on Thursday, guys. And I gotta say, things are looking really good. Though there are still aspects of marathon that have me concerned, especially with the most recent competition out there. Makes you wonder if marathon does have the ability to take players from such a game like Arc Raiders and bring them over to this game, which is going to be a tough ask. And it looks like Marathon's trying to do like that middle ground between like the super casual side of things of Arc Raiders and the super hardcore side of things of Tarkov. For example, like how you manage your inventory. Some slots take up 2, 4, sometimes 1 slot, where like in Arc Raiders, it's just the 1. But in Tarkov, you're basically a mini game is just managing your stash and organizing it to actually function properly. And having solos is great, but I will say that the solo lobby experience in this game, it's not that friendly. But using prox chat in this game completely changes the dynamic of how player interactions work within this game, because previously within the alpha, if you saw a player, it's kill on sight. There is no like working together, no fun moments or anything like that, or any kind of awkward situations. It's really just like you saw a player, you have to kill him, just strictly out of survival. Now I did notice that with a lot of the players in Marathon right now, not very many of them are using microphones. I mean, it does give you the option at the beginning of when you first load into the game. Now it does give you the option when you first boot into the game if you want prox chat on or off. Great to have that option for players out there who just don't want to deal with it. But I think it's also important that players do engage with the microphones, do get talkative. Now it is very, the first part of playing the game, so maybe more people get more comfortable with it, understand the systems a little bit more. They might get a little bit more casual with playing how to play the game. But right now, it definitely feels much more aggro. Not as many people using mics right now at the moment, but I will say that PvP does feel really good in this game. Like the situation right here where I heard this guy's footsteps, which by the way, the audio in this game sounds so great. This destroyer goes coming around the corner here. I ran into him. I just activated my ultimate ability, which actually means so like I can shoot extra rockets as long as I have sustained damage on a single player. And I just melted him. Like, it's one of those things where you can really kind of take advantage of the gameplay elements that are provided to you within Marathon, so you can actually have a chance to like tilt the scales into your favor in some kind of way. And it just makes it so much more interesting. Now, obviously, with the different character aspects, like they definitely will affect like how engagements work out. Some might feel a little cheesy, like Destroyer, I think in solos is kind of the way to play because all the other ones are so team focused when it comes to their abilities, that this is the one that's like built for just really for like solo players to go out there, hunt, do damage kind of thing. So I think this is where we're going to see probably a little bit of meta kind of shape up a little bit when it comes to the gameplay experience, especially between like trios and solos. I just played solos with this update, but I've yet to jump into the trios, which I definitely will here during this weekend, during this play session, because I'm just having a lot of fun. But like, I don't know, it's something with like the way the guns feel, the way they sound, the player movement, the abilities, like it just fits way different than it does like in Arc Raiders. I feel like in Arc Raiders, I feel so incapable of doing proper PvP within that game. But in Marathon, maybe it's a first person's perspective, I don't know, but it makes me feel so much more comfortable with engagements and being able to properly attack players. Now, most players out there right now are definitely running with like low tier shields, so it makes it pretty easy to clean them up a little bit. So we'll see what happens when it comes to like maybe purple and gold tier type of shields, how that really affects the gameplay experience and how people become much more accustomed to how Marathon plays compared to Arc Raiders. But I will say that like, again, it's like for me, I've always been with Arc Raiders, like it's the third person's perspective to be able to kind of cheese camera angles so you can kind of like preview and see where players are before they even see you. It's something that always kind of wears on me when it comes to a game like this, where say for a Marathon being first person, you run that risk of, seeing get that sight information. You have to risk being seen yourself. I think it's only fair. I also have to talk about just the visual presentation of Marathon compared to the alpha is light and day difference. And that's making even an understatement. Like the current visuals are just so much better. It's not just like that. It doesn't seem so matte and flat like the previous iteration of Marathon did, but like the way like the rocks are colored and on here, like you can see right here, like this is actually like a darker shade of brown. Like it's not like that one monochromatic soft green color that they had previously. Like it was actually differentiating the colors. Things pop more. Things have more visual interest, right? This oranges weren't there at all previously. We had like this atmospheric fog. You had these weather effects actually come in that really kind of changed the visual experience of the game. And also just the lighting as a whole just looks so much better. The volumetric lighting is so much better. Like I'm surprised like Bungie was able to make this much of a difference with really not that much time added to the development time for Marathon. But saying like just jumping into these worlds, it feels much more, I guess, less like flat and cartoony and more stylized with like a realistic vibe to it. Kind of like almost like a really stylized sci-fi kind of vibe. It's hard to kind of really explain, but it just definitely just stands out more. It just pops more. It just looks so much better than what it did previously, where everything just kind of had like this almost like cell shaded kind of Borderlands 2 almost kind of like flatness to it, to a lot like cartoony almost, where this definitely feels like 3D objects within the world, and you can see like that shine and the texture of things within the environment just looks so much better. I can go on and on about how things are just better, but like overall, dude, like seriously, it's just better. It's just better. But one thing I think it really needs to change with Marathon is definitely the PvE engagements, and that's mainly because the PvE really does feel like it's a lost cause for you as a player to engage with them, really just because of how little ammo they drop or how little shields that they drop. For the most part, especially the lower tier enemies, they don't really even drop like a bag for you to loot off of. So there really ends up being like a sink of your resources to just be able to survive. Like right here, I'm just trying to capture this like little loot spot right here to hack this. But then when I'm trying to hack it, I get attacked by a bunch of AI characters. But then I wasn't really able to utilize it because I completely ran out of ammo. Again, I ran in with like a free kit and just like it wasn't even enough ammo in my free kit to take on the enemy characters. And so I ended up just having to just kind of give up and just spend the rest of the time looking for ammo rather than doing what I want to do, which is complete missions and shoot stuff in my shooter. I wanted to shoot things, not open boxes. That's kind of like, the idea of a shooter. But, hey, so I would really like to see, that's a big gripe for me right now, at least my initial impressions of seeing like these bots, like at least know that you're going to get something out of killing these enemies, because right now it feels like it's a complete waste of time. Like right here, I came across this bot that had purple shields on and I wanted to attack him more, but I just couldn't. And then looking down at all the enemy characters that I killed earlier, there's like one loot box that's there that would possibly have the ammo that I might need for my weapons at this time. It was not ideal. Another thing I think might need some more work when it comes to Marathon, we talked about this back in the alpha as well, and it's the mission structure, but not necessarily the path that they take. Like I think there's enough variety right there, especially with the factions. The biggest thing I think is more about how you complete those different objectives. Or really, just like in the alpha, you had like one mission you could select, and that's all you can complete, which I think led to a really big issue with the alpha, for basically after the first like 10-ish, 15-ish minutes or so, the second half of the lobby, which like the last 15 minutes, there was like almost nobody ever in those lobbies, because they'll complete one mission. Sorry, I'm grabbing clips for my stream here, but most people will complete their mission and then exfil right after that, because you can only complete one at a time. This is something I think Arc Raiders does a really good job on, mainly because like you can just open up your map, at least in Arc Raiders, you can see all the missions that you can complete on that map, and then you can do that. That's something I think is going to be very important. And this also worries me when it comes to the full release, as there are going to be seasonal wipes, which makes me worry about how much content there is really going to be when it comes to what's available for us to kind of grind through. Because like, if you have to go one at a time for every single mission, and they're going to wipe at the end of like 3 months for the season, it makes me really concerned that they're not really going to be that many. And that's why we're kind of like limiting how many you can do at one time. I feel like you should be able to just complete whatever missions you have available for that map, just like in Arc Raiders. And I think it will lead to that issue of players leaving out of the match early, which is kind of the whole idea of Rook, is so then, people just join in mid-match kind of thing. So then it doesn't feel so empty while you're playing. But then that doesn't really alleviate the issue, especially when you have free kits still in the game as well, that you could just jump in as a free kit and kind of have the same experience and join in from the beginning, except instead of joining in late like you would with the Rook. I'm still trying to figure out like the main differences between those two, because I thought the Rook honestly was going to replace all the free kits, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. I don't know if you guys can articulate it better than I can in the chat, the differences between the Rook and the free kit, let me know. And one thing I would definitely like to see in Marathon that's actually common in a lot of other extraction shooters out there, that's having like a safe pocket, as you will, from like Arc Raiders, but it's in other games as well, like a secure box or something like that, where basically if you find something within the world that you really like, but you don't want to use that right now, but you want to extract with it, just put that in your little safe bin, and so then you don't lose it. So like that's one of the great things about Arc Raiders that I really enjoy, that makes it with like helps out a lot with that casual aspect of things, that even if you die, you still feel like you're making progress in some kind of way, because even if you're not able to complete your missions, you're still able to complete like the ability of like upgrading your characters of stats or abilities or something that feels stronger in the game. And that's where I think like Marathon I think could help lean a little bit more into the social casual side of things, just so that it's able to really kind of capture that casual audience a little bit more. Because when you die in this game, I mean, it sucks. It really sucks. There were definitely a few times where I kind of came into a raid or picked up something like a new weapon or kind of new upgrade or something like that, and then I go take the exfil and, well, I get rocked or something like that. Though leaning into that hardcore side of things when it comes to an extraction shooter a little bit, I think kind of helps bridge that gap between, say, like a Tarkov or an Arc Raiders, where in Marathon here, I think really does have the ability to kind of sit between those two in some kind of capacity and really justify its existence. So I really do feel like there's a whole different kind of a vibe or feel or anything like that when it comes to Marathon, the way it plays as well, with like the much snappier, tighter, more exciting, honestly, I would say, PvP side of things, and also even maybe not so much on the PvE. I think the PvE is what I think Arc Raiders has a real advantage on. But a big advantage Marathon has is the world building, the environments that you're in. For me, I want to know more about Tau City. I want to know more about this world that Bungie has created, where like in Arc Raiders, I'm not really caring too much about the story. Like, yeah, it's nice, it's kind of interesting, but it's like, yeah, all the billionaires left us behind. I mean, kind of experiencing that now in the real world anyways. But I will say that the PvE in Arc Raiders definitely feels much better. There's much more variety with it. Now, I'm sure we'll have more variety of PvE as we go throughout the seasons here in Marathon. But that's one thing I think it kind of is really lacking. It's like that experiencing like a high tier enemy. Like, yeah, we got some purple shield guys, you got some tankier guys, but they're nothing really too crazy. It's not like you're fighting against like a Leaper or even like the Matriarch or even a Queen in Arc Raiders. But Marathon, at least initial impressions for this, my first time playing this game since the alpha playtest, feeling so much better. The graphics, again, so much better. I was just doing this commentary, looking at this visual difference from what we had in Perimeter from the alpha. This is just so different, and this adds so much more variety and pop and visual interest in the world compared to the original version. Imagine like that was gonna launch like 6 months after the alpha. That would have been a complete disaster. So I'm glad Bungie delayed it. They got the extra time. I think it really saved this game. I'm definitely gonna jump in all weekend, play this a lot more, guys. So we're gonna formulate our full opinions in this next video about Marathon, I'm sure. But for right now, I gotta say the initial impressions of this game is that it's good. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's a lot better than the alpha, and I think it's really kind of starting to show that it can justify its existence over a game like Arc Raiders or even Tarkov. Certainly better than Delta Force. Delta Force extraction shooter, I'm kind of like completely over with at this point. If you made this far in the video, really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and even a hype to help out with the algorithm is greatly appreciated, guys. Thank you all so much for coming by. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.